Hi and welcome. I'm Angela, and today in this video we're going to look at what is expanding our heart through all of the world dances that I've been teaching with, dancing with, experiencing. And I wanted to talk a little bit about how we're going to be enjoying that in the Dance for Joy workshops that are coming up in Sydney, October 26, November 2nd, and November 9. So for those of you in Sydney, if you have any questions, I'll have a link in the description for the classes. But I'm really looking for any questions you might have about the workshop itself. And I wanted to share why. Why am I doing the workshop? And what is the gift of all the cultural forms of dance that we'll be partaking a little bit in? It's a little bit of a melange. One of the things I started to explore with all of my dancing in different locations and in different cultures and with different movement forms is, what are we looking for when we dance together as a community? So cultural dance arose from tribes, from people coming together, exploring music and exploring that togetherness. What is togetherness? What is the collective consciousness? And the thing in all cultural dance that's common is our heart. It's how we connect as a community, and it's how we celebrate being here on this planet. So Dance for Joy is about that. Come and celebrate you being part of a collective, being here alive on this planet, and that gift of being alive. And for me, the first acknowledgement of the gift was in the Sufi movement work that I did with Adnan Sarhan in New Mexico. He's no longer alive, Adnan, and I feel something on my back saying, come on, share this great work, because it gave me a different way to feel my heart that I hadn't had before. And on top of that, it was connected to a lineage that's also connected to my teacher from India now through the Bhakti movements in India. And Bhakti means devotion, but in the West, that word devotion is a little bit different to what it means in the East. So Bhakti is also that ability to experience the self at the divine level through dance, through poetry, through rhythmic practices, mantras, kirtan, chanting. There's so many ways to do devotion. You can just offer flowers. You can do so many ways of doing it. So the discovery through the Sufi movement, when I started to research, I saw that this lineage had connections through other cultural devotional practices. And I wanted to share a few things from different cultural dances which are fused into my workshops, Dance for Joy, and why they help us come together at this time to celebrate the gift of our heart. With the Sufi, we used to have a movement that would open us to the heavens. So even this shape here, if you want to try it along with me, when we lift our hands up in the air, we're starting to have a relationship to space. In ancient times, we'd call it the heavens. They might call it the divine God, whatever that they were worshipping, or they might worship the sun. And this space here, I've shared in other videos, is an expansion of the arms are connected to that heart center, and the arms are a cup or an embrace that's lifting up to the heavens. So in the Sufi, what we started to explore was very slow movements that kept us in that shape. And after 30 minutes or 20 minutes, your arms start to feel like, how am I going to do this? Well, the only way you're going to keep your arms up is if your imagination and your intent is to feel that you're connecting to something And this revolutionized the way I did dance. I was already doing Mid-Eastern dance, aka belly dance, but I didn't know that I could have my arms relating to space by simply using my imagination. It was not muscular. It was certainly not any skill set that I had to have my arms lifted for 20 minutes and longer, 45 minutes in that same movement, being held and feeling the arms suspended. So when I went beyond my muscles, that got my attention. I went, wow, my arms have been in the air for over an hour and I'm not using my muscles and I don't feel sore. So I started to feel this embrace of my heart space. We call it the heart space in dance, where we might invite a partner in to dance. If you're doing any of the cultural dances, we have a heart space. And if you do salsa, you have a space that you will bring a partner into, or tango, you have a space here. So in the Sufi, what I discovered was that there was this space of my heart reaching up into space, which for me was the unknown. I didn't know what the divine was. I didn't know what God was. I had some stories about it, but I didn't know what it felt like. And in the Sufi movement, when I had my arms up for hours and long periods of time, moving very simply, what happened was my heart naturally started to open up to the possibilities of what was there, which I had no idea about. So I started to experience a beautiful sense of connection to something bigger than myself. In other words, a connection to the divine. And the Sufis and the Bhakti movement did many rituals where they used to practice that experience of themselves being connected to something larger than themselves, which they called God or your soul. And so for some of us who grew up in cultures that are less mystical, we might be going, ooh, what is that space? What is it that I connect to? What is the divine? We might have those questions. And that in itself is a perfect way to relate to space, to relate to others. I don't know who you are, or I don't know what I'm inviting into this space when I open up my heart, but I'm open to experiencing it. And of course, when we work with human relationships, we might have experiences that are uncomfortable. So with the Sufi movement, we weren't involving dance movements where we interacted with each other. We were more experiencing that openness of the heart and the opening up to our sense of the greater space that surrounds us, or the divine, or whatever you call it, life itself, the magic of this enormous life that supports us and is all around us, but in our busy lives we ignore. So the other part of cultural dance is relating to us here as two people. So in cultural dance, we use this in all of our cultural dances as a way to lift the arms, to expand that heart space. And if you're working with a partner dance, you always have an embrace with the partner. You might be closely embraced, but you also have a space for your partner to move into and to dance in. And so in some of the improvised dance that I do in Dance for Joy, we explore that. We explore what's it like to have someone come into that space or that container that you're holding in the dance. So we do some improvised dance where you begin to feel that space of connection to your own divine, your own soul, and then how does it feel to share that with someone else? It's very important to understand what it feels like when we change from having one connection to ourselves and we bring it in relation to another part of how we might move in space or how we might operate in our lives. And for me, what I discovered when I was connecting to my heart and I would bring others into that space, I might feel a bit uncomfortable and I might freeze. So it was a wonderful thing for me to do social dances because they began to help me see when am I comfortable and not comfortable. And also in social dances, there are group dances. So you can do social dances that you work with one person, like partner dancing in salsa, But then you can have social dances that are more circular and they're more about the group. And this is where I found that every culture over time has developed group dancing. A lot of the European dances have the arms up, holding hands. And that also brings a beautiful way to open up that expanded sense of the heart that's open and connected to the community, to the group. And this is something I want to reinvent for our times, because cultural dances have been very popular in individual cultures the last 200 years with the migrations of all cultures all over the world. We're starting to enjoy all these different cultural dances. And you might go to weddings and you get to experience them. That's how I did when I grew up. I went to different cultural weddings and I got to dance with different cultures like Greek dancing, Lebanese dancing, and other Mid-Eastern dance forms. So then I started to see how they all have a group dance where everybody comes together, either holding hands down or up. It's one of the most simple movements in dance where you start to feel that shape of the hands and the heart and see how it can come up and down. And in so more tribal dances, this shape was holding the space above you and then connecting to the space below you. So a lot of traditional dances are that relationship between the heaven and the earth. And I saw this over and over, this pattern of the heart that was expanded in collective circle dancing, which we do in some dances in Dance for Joy, to feel what they're feeling with our heart expanded and see how that enables the group to come together and feel each other and feel yourself in the group. And also I do some Afro Samba, which has that sense of your heart expanded and feeling the support from the heaven and the earth. So in the combination of these world dances of the group, some of our traditional dances that connect the feeling of the space above us to the feeling below us from our arms and that heart shape from the heart with the arms outreached, what we start to see is that the heart is able to relate to different parts of ourself. In the Sufi, we're relating to that soul. In the cultural dances, we're relating to the community. In the partner dances, we're discovering how to relate to each other and bring someone into that heart space, and maybe what it feels like when we have to define our sense of what feels good, what doesn't feel good, by bringing someone in. So you might feel uncomfortable. You might feel attracted to someone. You might feel, I don't know what's going to happen. You might have all these relation questions that come up when you bring someone closer into that heart space. And when we come together as a group in more dance forms like Afro Samba, which feel that space above us and below the feet, we start to see how in our essence as a human being experiencing ourselves on earth, we have so much to experience in the space around us as a group. We get to see that collective consciousness in Afro Samba, which I've never really quite felt in the same way, because there's a lot of celebration of the heart and a lifting of that heart up and to the heavens and down to the earth, and a real sense of joy and vibrancy in the community, and feeling the different relationship of that heart space to the different feelings that come from celebrating that heart moving from the heavens and down to the earth and being supported by the lower body. So the heart and its cup, or the embrace of the arms, is something that's universal in every dance form. Every dance tradition, from the Eastern to the Mid-Eastern to the European to the African to the South American to the Indigenous people globally, there is always this cup of the heart that is in relation to the dance itself. It's an expression of how am I sharing that heart energy. And sometimes in the community, you might also need to contain the heart energy. It's not about cutting people off. It is sometimes about having clear boundaries, but it's having a clear sense of what is your energy in relationship to the community. If it's partner dancing, what do you like or not like about the partner that you're dancing with? Or if you go beyond that, what are you feeling and sensing from the partner that you're dancing with? And in these times, if we're to come together in community, we can use these resources of cultural dance to have a lot of fun, to learn how to be in our own heart space without making emotional dramas and stories about it, and actually feel versus think. Our society at this time is in too much thinking, and dance is a simple way to just sidestep that and allow yourself to feel, so your heart can learn to expand. Heart knows its own energy. Heart can feel comfortable and supported in your own heart embrace, how you feel the lift of your heart, how you feel that space of your heart, how you feel the quality of your heart. This is all the variations in dance allow you to have so many things experience that the mind simply can't do. And then in relationship to others, you can have more confidence. You don't have to try and please. You just allow things to flow in and out, but you have a clearer sense of what feels good, what doesn't feel good, and also where you might be trying to come from some ideas of how you should be versus what your heart is actually wanting to experience, which could be very different to what you think you should be. And that was the biggest gift I got, and why I do these workshops, is that after dancing in so many different dance forms and movement forms, and in particular the Sufi movement, which connect me to my divine and my soul and the feeling of it, which was very strong and stronger than my personality self, I saw that once we start to really build that strength of the heart, of the sense of the heart of the self, relationships start to become more joyful. Even the ugly stuff and the uncomfortable stuff becomes a part of the process of experiencing everything that's going on in the relationship, not pushing things away, and also having an expanded sense of yourself to be able to face things that are maybe uncomfortable. So if you have any questions about Dance for Joy, please put anything in the comments. I'm looking for any more questions you might have about what's going on in the workshop, what you're looking for to experience in yourself. This is a dance workshop to connect to your heart and experience it in relation to others and to feel that expanded sense of yourself. So come and join the workshops in Sydney. I've got the link in the description, and it's October 26, November 2nd and November 9 in Darlinghurst at the Authentic Living Centre. And I look forward to dancing with you there or dancing online. Thanks so much for watching.